What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Severed Floor Podcast. I'm your host, Hinano. Thank you for joining us as we review Stranger Things Season 5, Episodes 3 and 4. And those episodes are titled The Turnbow Trap, as well as The Sorcerer, guys. And so we're going to start off with Episode 3, directed by the legendary Frank Darabont, called The Turnbow Trap. The episode ramps up the action as Will's vision reveals Vecna's next target, Holly's classmate Derek Turnbow. The group recruits Erica to drug and kidnap Derek from his family, turning the Turnbow's house into a booby trap with acetone balloons, barbed wire pits, and a Home Alone style type of floor cutout. Ellen Hopper narrowly also evades the military soldiers in the Upside Down with their sonic weapons, while in Vecna's psychic realm, a disorientated Holly encounters Max, who's alive in the dream realm itself, conscious and trapped in the woods near the Creel's house, hinted at a shared mindscape between the two. The plan succeeds when the gang torches the Demogorgon and banishes it, but it flees toward Will's Barnes hideout, ending on Max's surprising reveal at the end of the episode, guys. So that's the start of the episode right there. We're going to be reviewing Episode 3 and then Episode 4. And before we get involved with that, let me say hi to my co-host. How are you doing, Dee?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I'm doing other stuff as well, messaging and trying to see where other person is. But yeah, it's I'm sad to say that we have to wait until Christmas to get more action on the characters that we've grown to love, and but I have been enjoying the long episodes, episodes 1, 2, and also 3 and 4, and yeah, I got some notes down from this, I don't know, second or third time we watched it. The episode's over, so yeah, I'm ready to talk about it with our guests, our other co-hosts, as well as special guests that are going to be joining us in a little bit.
Yes. So we do have Raven, Slider, as well as Tails in the studio. We're going to get them in here in just a minute. But guys, I want to go over some of the key moments in Episode 3, The Turnbow Trap, where one of them was Will's vision, where he reveals the next target, which is basically he identifies Derek Turnbow as the next target. Another key moment was Erica's sedative pie scheme, and I really enjoyed that interaction with her with the pie. And at the very end, she's like, "You should have eaten your pie," right? And then another key moment as well was the Home Alone style type of Demogorgon trap that they had at the Turnbow's home. I didn't realize a chainsaw could cut through that much layers of floor. And then also Joyce and Will's emotional heart-to-heart in the barn, where Joyce apologizes for basically not knowing where her son was for like 8 hours straight at the beginning of the first episode. And lastly, the final reveal where Holly discovers Max in her dream state. So those are the 5 key moments from Episode 3. Dee, how's about we get everybody into the studio right now?
Yeah, let's bring it up and let's get to talking.
All right, guys, stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Severed Floor crew today, along with a special guest in the middle. We got Tails, as well as Slider and Raven. It's so awesome to have you here, Tails, as a guest speaker. I can't wait to get in with you. I know last time we spoke, I think we spoke for like 2 hours just about, movies and all that type of stuff in general. And we lost him again, guys, but he's back. That connection out there in the UK is a little bit different. It's got to go all the way to Hawaii, so I kind of get it.
Yes.
But Slider, how you doing today, man?
Yeah, guys, I'm good. I'm just excited to get into these episodes and get some speculation at the end. And yeah, I really enjoyed these two. So yeah, I'm just ready.
Are you in the correct time zone, my friend?
Oh man, yeah. I'm not lost in the Matrix with Oz anymore.
Okay, good. That was some traveling.
And our favorite bird from the north. How you doing today, Raven?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. Ooh, you got like that nice studio voice right there. Sounds like she's got a new mic, D.
I do. I threw out the cheapy microphone and invested in the Blue Yeti one. So
You're gonna be
Nice.
breaking hearts with that voice, Raven. You just gotta be honest.
funny.
Shay's got to run for his money.
Yeah.
Not
Unfortunately,
even
guys,
close.
we've lost Tails. Hopefully we get him back. Like I said, it must be a connection thing. But Tails, come back whenever you're ready. But guys, the Turbo Trap. This is where the episode started to really ramp up. It starts off where Hopper's like literally like stabbing the mucus wall, right? And
Yeah.
we kind of see them kind of have a little interaction, a little stick of beef jerky, and then we see the soldiers kind of show up, and it kind of gets the episode going. And Frank Darabont, like, he's a really, really good director right there. And one thing I love about him is what he really does, like deep human focus. Like, he really kind of gets into the realm of people's minds and really gets with the struggles, especially in chaotic times. And the one thing I do love about, like, his style is he loves to kind of like bring ordinary people into like very extraordinary things. So I really felt a lot of his style in this episode, and I thought it was really enjoyable. I love the scenes where they mounted the antenna to the beamer. I thought that was really cool. That they're just kind of driving through people's yards and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that aspect, and it was just kind of like the episode started ramping up right from the beginning. But let's get your guys' take. We'll start with Raven.
I think for me, this is really where I started to enjoy the season. Like, for me, this is episode 1 in a way. It was perfect. Yeah, I love the scene you're talking about where we get to see, that fight with the army guys, and 11 use her powers and stuff like that. And we're trying to figure out, how are they found her kryptonite? How are they doing it? So that kind of starts that. But yeah, there was so many. This really hits, like, if you're an 80s kid, this hits you in every direction. Like that Tiffany, the album, the scene, like that. I have it. I still have the cassette tape of that.
Do you have that radio too?
I don't think I had that radio. I had like the Sony Walkman that was like yellow.
I had the same one, Raven. With the
I
orange squishy headphones.
Yes, and I thought I kept it, but I checked in my box and it wasn't in there. But I did have the Tiffany cassette. But no, I really enjoyed this episode. There were so many throwbacks, again, to like 80s stuff or old movies. Derek kills this episode for me, and Erica. Like, I honestly think the younger kids that they brought in are the stars.
Yeah.
Of this.
I don't have a picture of them, unfortunately, but I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, so many funny things in this one.
All right. Slider, what's your initial take on episode 3?
Yeah, man, I think they really like just jumped right into it. That that first scene with Hopper, and just how he just unloads on the soldiers, and then he just sits there and like pulls the grenades and chucks them over, and they get blown up. And yeah, I mean, it was just right into the action, and then later on in the episode, we find out this one that Max is still alive, and that whole thing with being lost in the memories, and just like how she made her way through. And yeah, I just thought that was like a pretty cool take on the whole thing. Like, they're trying to do like a little Wrinkle in Time tie in there, and they, like Raven said, there's a lot of like throwbacks to the 80s. Like, one that I noticed that I guess more like kind of into the 90s would be like one of the soldiers, he says like, let's get that hedgehog thing moving on the top, and it's like, and then it's called the Sonic thing in other scenes, so it's like Sonic the Hedgehog. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I just this episode just had so much in it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So Tails, we're kind of talking about the director. He directed, Frank Darabont. He directed episode 3, and you can kind of feel his resonance in this episode. How did it feel for you? Your take on episode 3? Kind of lay it out for us.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I was looking forward to seeing what Frank Darabont would do, because he's obviously a very well-known and goated director. Yeah, it was. I suppose this is the last time we're going to kind of see the gang do like setting traps. That they love an episode where they set up traps, and this felt, very Home Alone, and yeah, it was good. And obviously, was this the episode that they really introduced Derek as well? Because I think
Yeah.
Derek's already like when they always bring on one or two new characters that are central to each season. And yeah, he's great. Apparently, he was found in an advert. He hadn't ever done any proper acting before, but yeah, it was a top episode. Yeah, I really liked it. And obviously, the reveal with Max, which I'm not going to lie, I was kind of hoping was going to be Eddie Munson, but
Me
there we
too,
are.
man. You saw the boots, right? So
But I wanted to ask real quick, and like as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of this show. I'm a proper, what they call a cinephile. As soon as I saw the POV shot of somebody looking at Holly, right, the little girl, Mike's sister, Holly
Nell
Wheeler.
Fisher.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that shot, I was like, that's Max. Like I just knew instantly, but it was still a great reveal. I'm
Yeah,
glad to see her back.
I didn't know. I honestly, I really thought it was Eddie Munster, just mainly because of the shoes. But what I really liked about this episode, it was quick, but also, how Darabont likes to draw things out, or at least that's how I felt. Like it was quick, but it was drawn out in a way where it was quick and also very fulfilling, at least for myself, until you get to kind of like episode 4. Because kind of like at the very end of this episode, we're at the barn, they run over the Demogorgon and stuff like that, and then we're on to the next episode and so forth. But I really enjoyed like the pacing of this episode versus the first one. And I remember Big Bro bringing this up last week. The pacing for episode 1 was a little bit different, and mainly for me, I felt like it was different because I had to get used to them aging. Because technically it's 18 months, right? But in reality, it's 4 years the last time we've seen them on the screen. So at least for myself, I kind of had to like have that double take for it. But D, how did you like the episode?
Yeah, I like this one. It focused a lot on Holly. And like I was saying, when she was eating breakfast with Henry, it kind of brought me back to like, in the first episode of season 5, they were all eating breakfast together as all the families in what's her phrase, Karen's house. And so like this one, like she was able to have like her own breakfast to herself. She didn't have to share with anybody. It's kind of creepy though that Henry knew all the stuff that she liked, but I guess that's just what he does, right? He kind of preys on people's emotions and whatever to get in their heads. But what I did find like interesting after watching it like the second time was how Henry made sure to tell Holly, don't go, anything you do, don't go in the woods. Like when you want someone to do something, you tell them the opposite. So is he saying that really to Holly to make her go to the woods eventually, when Max put the thing in the mailbox? Because the last thing I saw was Henry was chasing Max and he couldn't get into the wall thing, right? So was he telling Holly to not go in the woods in hopes that something would happen to where she would, be a little girl and be curious, go out there, find Max, and eventually like lure her out of this wall that he really couldn't go into for whatever reason.
It's a great take. I like that take. I didn't think about it like that at all.
I always like when I was writing down my notes this last time, seeing it, I was like, like, and I know like Henry, he's such a like I said, he plays on your mind and feelings. Like he just implanted that. Like, was he intentional? That was just my thought on that part. But yeah, really good to see Max. When she's chasing her after her in the woods, and then you see her, and it's like, oh, this is where like it led up to. And when Holly was looking at the map, it kept, when people are like at the time that they're traveling and it shows the map in the background of it, you see like walk or up the hill. And I was like, that's like in part of Max's song, running up that hill. And so in a way I was like, could it be Max that we're seeing? And then it turned out to be her. So that was really cool. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but yeah, just little things I caught.
Yeah, I was gonna add to that because how Dee was talking about like Henry doing things on purpose, and I think we're kind of starting to see like there's a reason why Henry can't quite. I don't know if I'm going too far ahead there. Can't go
ahead.
that far or doesn't want her to, or maybe like is purposely trying to do something to get them to do it for him. Because I was watching this like TikTok video or whatever, and when she looks at through the telescope, it's a weird shape. Well, apparently it's the shape of the rocks on the map. Or when so
And it also
interesting.
represents the mind flayer slightly. I've got a
Yeah.
quick, since we're talking about the cave,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've got to ask a kind of a prerequisite. I don't know if that's the right term, but
Yeah.
are you guys aware of what happens in the stage show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really. I've heard
Mhm.
about it a little bit, but no.
Do you like? I don't know whether you want the spoiler because it is canon. Like the Duffer Brothers come out and said this show is canon, but obviously it's hard for people to go and see it before season 5 anyway. But it's a take on the cave. Let me know.
Spoil
I
it.
know the majority.
Spoil it.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
know.
So in season 4, when Vecna's doing his whole speech to 11, and you're getting that big reveal, and he's in Dimension X, and he's like, I went there, and I found this world, and yada yada yada. That's not the first time he was in Dimension X. So in the stage show, he got sent there before they moved to Hawkins, and basically the first time he came into contact with a mind flayer was at a cave in Nevada. So this is the cave. So this is why he's too scared to go in. But like you say, Dee, I think that I'd never thought about that maybe, he's set Holly up to drag Max out. But yeah. So he's a bit of a false narrator, kind of like the Joker, I feel, because that was the story in season 4. But we're gonna find out that is not the first time he's been to Dimension X.
Yeah.
And
Also,
it's interesting.
something.
Go ahead.
I was just going to add something real quick. Like when we were talking about Holly and Henry, I found it interesting that Henry gives her that Barbie music box with that song. That's her favorite song. And he knows that like music is what leads them out of the shared mindscape. So why did he give her a music box of all things? Like music is the one thing that gets you out, and especially your favorite song. So that's just, it's weird. That kind of made me think, like, is Henry really bad in this? Like, I know Vecna is and stuff, but Henry was once good. He was a kid that this happened to him. So it's just kind of weird. Like, why would you do that unless there's a part of him that's still good? So I don't know. That's just my kind of speculation.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I never thought of that
Thought of
either.
it that way.
Yeah, I like that.
Ooh.
I forgot what I was gonna say. That's okay. It happens. What's that?
There was one part in earlier in the episode where they show in the classroom where Derek's sitting at the table, and when he looks over his shoulder, he sees Henry, just watching him in the corner of by the door, and on Derek's on his table, there's like, I think it's a lunchbox, and it says the word creepies on it. I don't know if that's like it was a band before or like a group, but it said creepies. And I'm like, that's so fitting. Like they panel and see, over his shoulder, that lunchbox thing. And then when he turns, like Henry is over there creeping on him. So I thought that was just something it caught my eye when I was watching back. I think, that's it for me. Sorry. Kind of jumped all over.
No, it's good. And like I said, like feel free to jump all over if you want. It's totally fine. I'll probably just ask another question and then we'll just kind of like simulate from that. But like, so we kind of got like our takes on the entire episode, but kind of give me what was like your favorite part of the episode, specifically what resonated with you the most and why. Tails, we'll go with you first.
So I'm just trying to think because it's basically the whole trapping of the Demogorgon in the house. Like the writers' room for this episode must have been mad, because even the whole fact of like, right, we can track Demogorgons from the right side up when they're in the upside down, and they have so many moving parts. Like you've got, Dustin and Steve in the room waiting to see the lights. Then you've got Lucas and it works. It shouldn't work, but it works. And there's the bit where Lucas is saying to Mike, "Mike, get him!" and he's got the shovel. And I was like, "Oh, Mike's about to." I was worried for Mike,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was. I think this is a really good episode of like fun before we really get to the dark stuff in episode 4, and what I assume will be the theme for the rest of the season. It's not going to be as light and fun, I don't think, for the next 4 eps.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you could be right.
What about you, Raven?
For me, a couple of favorites. I definitely love the scene with Holly and the Tiffany song playing. That was, I don't know, I just enjoyed that. Brought me back. It was fun, but obviously it's all in this fake world, right? And then my second favorite would be, I think, the whole pie thing and the table and Erica. Like, she is one badass supervillain. I was saying in the chats there, I want to see her as Kathy Bates in a remake of Misery. Like, I want her just to be a villain the whole time.
But doesn't she remind you of like a young Tiffany Haddish? Do you know the actor Tiffany
Yes,
Haddish?
the comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
reminds me of her. She's brilliant.
Yeah.
Erica's, yeah.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
she does
for sure.
the football pose, and I can't remember what she says to Derek, but yeah, she's got some great lines in the season.
Oh, even Derek had some great lines, like his when he was in the barn. And what was it? Do you know who I am? Yeah, an evil child kidnapper. Like, oh no, it was good. And
Yeah,
even the
he's-
attention to detail, like when Erica and she's like, "You have 1 minute to tell me." I guess it was actually 1 minute. Somebody
Yeah.
on the internet timed it. So I love that, where it's like there's so much detail put into this. But yeah, no, it was a perfect episode in my mind.
Slider, what about you, man?
Yeah, I think probably my favorite was where they're trying to basically like track the Demogorgon, and like in the house though, when they're like trying to get the tracker on him, and he, it's like that Home Alone kind of scene, and everything going on with that. I thought that was pretty good. That was probably my favorite. And then I like the end scene going into 4, like with Derek. Like that was a great scene too, and him running around, and then on the top of the loft in the barn and throwing down the ladder, and then whatever he said, like suck my fat one or something. Like it was
Yeah.
just
Suck
like,
my fat
what?
water.
Yeah, I was like, what? Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, that was pretty funny. So I mean, I think the whole episode, like, they did really good with like pacing, and still I liked the interaction between the characters and kind of how they switched them up, and Steve too, kind of like trying the interaction with Dustin this whole time, but he's kind of trying to, like, I don't know, I get the feeling like he's kind of like trying to protect him, because like Dustin's kind of becoming a little bit of a dick, I mean, it's understandable, but like it feels like Steve, he used to be a dick, and then like he kind of transformed and grew, and then now Dustin's going that way. So it kind of feels like he's, trying to like, protect him, and I just like the interactions this year between the characters. So yeah, that's it.
D?
One kind of scene that I thought was funny was in the beginning of the 3rd episode, where Robin and Will are riding back. Are riding back to I guess the radio station, and Joyce, she's the only car on the road, passes them, and they're like, "Do you think she saw us?" Like, no shit, like, no, she didn't see you guys. And then she like reverses, and I just found it funny. Like, she gives
It's got
him
that Pinto noise, right?
Yeah, she gives him that like angry mom look, and she's like rolling down the window because it's manual, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so hilarious because they didn't have power windows back then.
Yeah.
So even though she's mad, she's like, it's taking a while to roll down the window. And then of course, like Robin being herself, it's like, sorry, next time we'll just leave a note, okay? Kind of like she doesn't mean it to be like sassing back. That's just how she is. But and even what she said about her mom, right? I think her mom says she's what how does she describe her mom saying like she just is like
It seems
ser-
insincere. Yeah.
yeah, she seems sincere, but she's like she's like that's how she is.
Yeah.
So for her to say that, I was like, yeah, we'll just leave a note next time. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of like funny when Joyce is like really trying to be like the mom that's like worried and she's trying to be serious, and here's Robin with her one-liners.
Yeah, her
Um,
social cues are kind of all over the shop, aren't they, for Robin? She's just, and they even do that later on where she's like, Dick. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? You know what I mean?
yeah,
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 Has
what
no inner monologue.
and in the car, that's when Robin says, "My tone." It's something about her tone. My mother says I sound perpetually insincere. Like
mhm,
some of these lines, so
yeah.
good.
Like I wonder how many takes she had to do that because I would get like tongue twisted just trying to say those lines
Mm-hmm.
that Robin says. But yeah, I enjoyed season or episode 3 leading up to the badass episode 4 with lots of action. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I think for me, I had a couple key moments in this episode I really liked. One thing I liked, and Raven brought it up at the beginning, this episode is very 80s, and I love that the kids are really like saying slangs that I used to say. I like, barf bag. You got like Holly like yelling that at the stairs, like, "Oh, Derek, the barf bag." I'm like, I remember saying that as a kid, right? And just the kids, I really love these new kids. I mean, I like Holly. I love Derek. He reminds me of Chunk from Goonies. And then just like, all these other kids that we'll talk about for the next episode, I love to see that. And it's kind of full circle. You got like the kids we grew up with, they're a little bit older now. And then you got these younger kids. Some of them are like their siblings and stuff like that. And so I really thought that's really cool. Another thing I really liked about this episode was the dynamic between Hopper and Jane 11. You see the Sonic Hedgehog kind of taking her out. You see Hopper, he's basically Hopper slash dad slash badass. And I love it where like you see it in his eyes. He's ready to like throw grenades, and he's all happy. He throws those grenades, and you have like that massive action scene. And at the very end, when they blow up the hedgehog, you see Jane come out and like push that guy to the side of the door. I thought that was really cool too. And what I really liked about this episode too was that scene between Joyce and Will. Where she's really being sincere to him. Like, I really felt like a shitty mom. I came home from work. I smoked cigarettes. I drank some really cheap Merlot, and I watched Cheers, and I passed out. And for 8 hours, I didn't know where you were. Right. And like, if you're a parent, you'll know what that feels like. So you can kind of resonate with that. And so I kind of totally resonated with that, because I remember just last night, I could not, because we just watched this episode, like maybe like, 2 hours before we came on stream. We couldn't get a hold of our daughter because she had her phone off. And I'm like, what the hell, right? And so like and like for like at least 3 hours, we didn't know where she was. So like, but like for her, like go through that, right? Like not only not know where her son is throughout that whole season, he's gone, and then go through that whole ordeal. And now we're at like season 5, and she's kind of like admitting this to him a little bit older. I really like that. It resonated really well with me. And then I really love the car scene right here with them. It's not like Back to the Future, right? But I really feel like they had to add like a car chasing scene where it's like smashing through like trees and fences. So I really like that, and I really like what happened at the end where they run over the Demogorgon too. So I thought that was cool. Characters, who was like the best character of this episode? And we'll move on to episode 4. Which one did you guys like the best? Which person resonated with you the first? Tails, go ahead.
That's a tough one. I can't pick, man. I think I'm really liking Robin. I've always liked Maya Hawke, but she's like, they've let her cook this season. Same with Will, but we'll kind of get to Will in the next episode. And Mike, because like, I'm not gonna lie, for me, throughout the seasons, my favorite characters have been Steve, Dustin. Like, I know 11 plays a massive part. I know Mike, but I haven't really cared about those characters. I think in this season, I care about all the I mean, I care about the characters, but you know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
they're on screen now. Like I've got equal, what's the kind of term I'm looking for? Like I'm equally into each
Equally invested
character.
in all of them.
Whereas
Yeah.
yeah, whereas past seasons I'm like, let's get back to Eddie Munson, we'll see what he's doing. Let's get back to Dustin, see what he's doing, you know. And Hopper's, you know,
Yeah.
a G.
Got you. So basically everybody. All right. So Raven, what about you? Anyone stand out for you?
If I have to narrow it down to one, I'll go with Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just fun. Yeah, I loved the role she was playing in that, and yeah, I like that evilish villain kind of vibe, but also doing with the point of doing good. But she enjoyed it. Like she wanted to get back at her friend. So eat the pie. I don't know.
Should have
You know-
just done that.
And what I love about Erica is like, they're trying to convince her to like drug her friends and like kidnap them, right? Because that's like not really easy to do. And like, they're really trying their best and they're dragging it out when all they should have said was like, Holly got kidnapped. This is the only way to save her. And she was like, okay, I'm in. Why didn't you just lead with that, right? Oh, and I get to drug my friend? Even better, right? So
do you know what the Duffer Brothers do that I really appreciate is that when they have bits like that, they don't like fully drag it out for, it's 2 episodes of them persuading this person. Even in season 1, sorry to just digress really quickly, when Joyce is first, thinking that knowing her son's gone, he's talking to me through the lights. I didn't like that they milked that for a whole season. It was like 1 episode of not believing you and then everybody's on board. Like I like that pacing, because I can't stand it when shows just like, oh, that'll be the end of season, twist. Like, nah, come on, let's get to it. And Duffer Brothers do that really, really well.
yeah, they're really good, man. I really love those guys. I mean, like, you might have said this. I remember someone saying, like, it's amazing how well executed this is, the writing for something that's so original. You know what I mean? But yet it resonates so well with us because it really plays on a lot of the tropes that we grew up with. And it does it so well where I don't feel like it's a copycat, but more of like a homage to it instead. Through a really a brand new story. So I really love these guys, and I really hope whatever project they do next, it resonates something similar to this. Maybe not necessarily in the 80s, but like the type of execution they're doing with this stuff, because
for sure,
it's really good. Slider, who stood out for you, man?
Okay, I'm gonna say somebody I think we forgot. Murray. I think Murray had some great parts in this, man. He kept coming like Santa, like he had been, but a few more times in this, and just the lines he had and how he interacted with Dustin, like that was just a funny part. Like him with Nancy when she's like, you better, do what I say or I'm going to shoot you in the potato sacks, in his line, he's like, well, I got my potato sacks are pretty big, and like, it was, he actually had some pretty good parts in this. I thought he did really good for, that. So somebody different that I just, I thought really did good this episode for the kind of shorter period of time he had on screen. So yeah, I think I'll go with him.
Yeah, he does the comic relief really, really well. I love him in everything I've seen him in. He's very funny.
Yeah, so Biggest Bro kind of equated himself. If I was in the Stranger Things universe, he would be Murray. He would be the guy that would get everything in and out of Hawkins, and he would be able to smuggle you out. So, I thought that
wearing a
was
smile on his face. Yeah,
wearing a smile on his face. D, what character resonated with you the most in this episode?
Well, I'm just gonna say, like, I've really enjoyed watching the what do you call it, the progression of Murray. From like the first time we saw him, he was all like, a very paranoid person and kind of a loner by himself doing his thing. And then as he got into the group, like he's now like a part of the group, essentially running these. They are very dangerous to get these things, which are totally contraband, in this lockdown place. And he's like risking it because, that's like his family now, right? So I've really enjoyed seeing how he's progressed in the seasons. I would have to go with Erica. Just her attitude. It's like, even though she's like one of the younger characters, like you still don't mess with Erica. Because she can, yeah, I mean, she has like freaking like sleeping whatever in this little syringe just ready to go. It's like, yeah, if you'd listened to me the first time, eat that damn pie, you would have just been fine. But no, so technically this is your fault that I'm doing this to you right now. um and just the way that her character also has grown. So for me, it was Erica in this episode. And another thing I wanted to point out was in the start of episode 3, it shows Hopper and 11 like trying to break open the wall, and it's all dark. And then towards the ending of the same episode, you find Holly, and she also comes across a wall, but it's in the daytime and it's light. So I was just like, kind of contrast there. Like it started off dark and then ended in the light kind of thing. So
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
Man, I really wish I had these cool analysts, these analytic takes. We were watching this. She's literally with her notepad writing everything down, and I'm like, I should be doing that. But my favorite character, and she's been kind of like my favorite character throughout the series for season 5, and it's Holly. I really enjoy Nell Fisher as a character. I really like. I like the fact that all the Wheelers are pretty badass except for Ted. Which I don't understand for the dad, but they're all heroic in their own way, from Mike to Nancy and now Holly, right? And
and
for
even
her,
Karen.
well, yes, even Karen. That's right. Shout out to Karen with her glass of wine. But I just really like this actress. I know she's new. I think they brought her in for season 5. She wasn't like Holly. I think Holly's been different actresses throughout season 1 through 4. But I really like the focus on her. I thought they did great with her at the beginning over here, with her doing the baking of the cakes, to her, finding all that gear, putting it on. I remember Omi-Wan saying last week it was almost kind of like a Alice in Wonderland thing, and her traversing through the woods. And I really like your take, Dee, about Vecna luring her out there to try to get Max out, and maybe in some strange way, because Vecna is connected to Holly. We've seen it in a flash, whatever, right? Maybe she's the key for him to go into the cave or something. I'm not sure, but I really like that. I didn't even think about that take right there. But yeah, my favorite character is Holly in this episode. Even though Max is pretty badass too, I do like Max, and I'm with you, Tails. Yeah. I like 11. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think if she died, I wouldn't. I care, but it wouldn't have an emotional weight for me as if Hopper died or someone else that I resonate, or even Steve, because I do like Steve. Yeah.
But somebody's got to die.
Someone's got to die.
Not everyone's making it out alive.
Yeah, and I hear that we have the most brutal death in this season. So I'm going to ask your guys' take on who you think is going to die when we get to the Speculation Nation part. But guys, let's tune into the next episode right here, which is Chapter 4, and that's called The Sorcerer. The military quarantine tightens on Hawkins as Mike, Lucas, and Robin stage a chaotic jailbreak for the captured kids that were rounded up in the middle of the night by the military. Joyce bonds with a skeptical Derek, convincing him of the threat, just as Steve's beamer rams into the pursuing Demogorgon. Elle and Hopper infiltrate the secret military base in the Upside Down, defeating Dr. K and her goons for now, but discovering that it's not Vecna behind the locked vault door, but instead a captive Callie, number 8, 11's sister from season 2. The episode climaxes with Vecna kidnapping the kids in quarantine, admitting he chose children as vessels because they're weak and easy to control. Before a horde of Demogorgons annihilate Mike, Robin, Lucas, and the gang, Will emerges from the ground with his hands in the air, taking control of the hive mind, blood dripping from his nose as latent powers surges, revealing Will has powers like 11. Before the episode ends, Will saves his friends' lives, and that's kind of how we cut right there, guys. It's a very climactic, I guess, mid-season finale. I would love your guys' takes, and let's really get deep into this. Tails, go.
Man, this is why I love Stranger Things so much. So I'm gonna have to go on a little 5-minute bit here. So sorry,
do it.
Just cut me off if I'm taking some
here
time.
for it.
No.
But I've been looking forward to this season. Ever since season 4 finished, we had a really long wait. Now I tend to do this quite badly. With Alien Romulus, I was looking forward to it ages. Went and saw it, didn't meet my expectations. The Batman, which is actually aged really well, but I remember coming out and going, oh, that's not as good as every 5 minutes watching every one of these episodes. I was just sitting there going, man, and I'm going to swear this one time, I fucking love this show. And this episode just cooked so hard, bro. I was just at a loss for words. I love the Callie twist. A lot of people didn't think she was going to come back. I didn't think she was going to come back. I was like, that story's done. And I actually, that's apparently like the most hated episode of the whole show is that season 2. But I really like that episode where they have her. You know, when Hopper, sorry, and we'll let everybody go, but I'll do this really quick. When Hopper has the vest on, right? What the Duffer Brothers again really do, I've got to give 2 examples here. Right, you've got Game of Thrones that set the stakes really early on by, you know, spoiler alert, who they kill, and that anybody can get it in Game of Thrones. So you're always on edge. The Walking Dead, where that really fell off for me, it was like there was no stakes after a while. Zombies would show up, they do the scary music, you know no one's going to die. It's insulting my intelligence. But what Stranger Things do, they do the fake out deaths, but I don't ever get annoyed by it. Like, I knew Hopper was not going to die because I'd seen him in the other trailers doing other bits. But I was still like emotionally just like, oh my God, like it was so good, bro. Well, now I'll get to the Vecna and Will stuff, but I'll let the others go before I get too overly excited.
That was shorter than 5 minutes.
Okay, please do. This is what it's all about.
But
yeah, go for it.
When Vecna walks out, that is one of the most iconic villain. And you said about the most violent death. I think we've had it, and that was Ramirez getting the Groot hands through the eyes, like, and like I was just like, wow, they're really going for it. I think like, and you know when Will says they're here, and like you've had all the commotion with the kids and the Great Escape stuff, and then it's just like, and then they do that one-er, you know, where they're following Mike, and bro, it was just so good. Like it felt like James Cameron did Aliens and Terminator, it just kept going and going, and the stakes kept rising and rising. That's
long wraparound action scenes, scenes.
And just the Will, you know, I heard rumors that Will was going to have powers, but I didn't really think about it. And then he did them Demogorgons dirty. It was so good.
No, I you know what I loved about the end scene really quick. So like, you know, they got like that Band-Aid over Hawkins, right? They got all those metal plates. And I loved when you can see those plates move and you can see the squares and you see the outline of red, right? And it moves up and down as like, oh man. And I just thought to myself, what happens when the entire Band-Aid rips off and that entire metal plate just flies right off? It's just open sesame right there. So
I love the POV shots they're doing of the Demogorgons this season as well. Like that's, you know, and then just ripping through, just making these gates and then they're straight through and just murking people nuts. Yeah, so good.
It's funny you bring that up because what's the science teacher was back too in episode 3, and you know like how they love to talk about the Einstein-Rosen bridge, the wormholes, right? You know, it's like, you know, why would they put that in there right there, right? Just, you know, it's not just filler. I feel like that's gonna lead on to something, but we're gonna go this way now. Slider, your take of this episode.
I like the beginning part of you know, this episode, kind of like where, you know, Hopper and 11, they're kind of debating, like you can see like Hopper wants to like give her, like, you know, he wants to trust her more and stuff, and just how they've been like going back and forth, and you know, he calls her stubborn again, and then he, you know, but she says, well, I can count, the thunder is going to be in 7 seconds, you know, and he's like, she counts out, and then it is, and he's just like, oh, lucky guess, you know, but you see him like give more trust in this episode. So I really like that, like, development of that relationship, and that we get to see it more because we haven't seen it in the last episodes, you know, or the last seasons. So that was a good scene. I like that, you know, and then just when they busted in there and, you know, then they find Kai in there, and, you know, but with Hopper with the vest, I kind of think maybe they're foreshadowing something later on that might happen to him, and just how he was like willing to like sacrifice himself, for her. And it had the flashbacks to his daughter, and and it kind of just made me feel like with his daughter, he just had to sit there helpless. He couldn't do anything, while she died. But this time, he can make a decision, to make sure that that doesn't happen to 11, and just kind of shows like how he really thinks like 11 is his daughter. Like that's how he thinks of her, not just like adopted daughter, like, because he always, when it's like these kind of moments, he always flashes back like to his daughter, when she died. So I thought that was a great scene. I liked the bathroom scene, when they're trying to get them all out, and the water's breaking, and and then freaking what's his face, Derek, he like
Derek.
yeah, he like runs in there, and then all of a sudden, he turns around and he slams himself into the door, and that big, the army guy like can't get past this little kid, but just because he's so big, and then the other ones come and they block it. Like I thought that was a good scene, and then of course the ending, I mean, that was crazy, and I heard that like the Duffer Brothers wanted to make it like an epic like entrance for Vecna, and they were kind of trying to like mold it off of like the Darth Vader scene when he comes in, and Obi-Wan and Anakin, I think it is, or what with that one, the one that just came out with
Rogue
them.
One.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, on Rogue One,
Yeah. The ending of that one. So yeah, but I thought that was crazy because it's like Vecna, just like nothing they did, the bullets, the fire, nothing, hurt him, and he was just flicking people around, and yeah, and then at the end, like, it's just crazy, like, how all of a sudden like Will gets powers. Now I'm not sure. I mean, I loved how he like just destroyed the Demogorgons and stopped it from getting everybody. But I'm not sure if he has the same powers as L, because I've heard some reviews and different theories. Just like I'm not sure if it's just he can control the Demogorgons, like that part of like the Upside Down, like he can control that, or if he has powers like L. So I'm not sure. I hope I'm glad to see them like give him powers, and so yeah, I just thought it was a great episode overall.
Yeah, I want to touch on what you were saying about Hopper, about him, just willingly, he's going to go leap to his death to save everyone. This is like crawl number 30 or something, right? I think every crawl he was ready to die. I mean, he was strapped already with that inside of his vest, right? I think every crawl he was looking for Vecna to kill him, and he made it. He was okay with it. He rests to bed that this is the last time I'm gonna see them, right? Or he's at that state already. It's like, I need to protect him. This is what I'm gonna do. But I think every time he went to the Upside Down, he was ready to die. So
and that's
that kind
why
of
he didn't want. Sorry to cut you off, Anand.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why he didn't want L coming with him
That's
every
right.
single time.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And I've also just got one small quick take before we go over
Go ahead.
to Raven. The engagement ring that Jonathan has.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think that's for Nancy. I think that's for Hopper to ask Joyce.
Oh.
And there's a whole theory about, like when that happens is apparently 37 minutes and 37 seconds into the episode. There's loads of scenes throughout the whole show where 37 is behind Joyce and Hopper at random times. So I think that's
Interesting.
because why are you going to ask Nancy to marry you whilst you literally? It makes more sense for Joyce and Hopper. But
Yeah, absolutely.
I never thought of that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Raven?
Yeah, no, it's another great episode. For me, it kind of starts with that whole Tom, Dick, and Harry speech from Robin, which is hilarious. And if you guys
I
go
like
online and watch the table read through of the cast when she reads that for the first time, is really good. I love Great Escape is one of my favorite movies. So just that whole scene with the kids and them through the bathroom and all that. I love that. Elle breaking into the facility, and Linda Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing actress.
What episode did she come in for the first time?
I think she was in one, right?
Was it in one? Because I remember it was like she had the mask on, right? But I was like, the voice, before it clicked in who it was, I was like, I know that voice so well. but it took me a second to place it, and then I saw her eyes. But no, I thought she was awesome in it. And then yeah, Will, I find like that ending scene was fantastic. And I feel like Will is grown into himself a bit as well too, because I felt like he was always this like scared, unsure little boy, and he
Mhm.
doesn't feel like that anymore.
Yeah.
It feels like he's kind of accepted all of this and is kind of, you know, starting to embrace it a little bit. But yeah, excellent.
Yeah, and who knows? This might also be a downfall for him as well. We'll have to see on that one.
Mhm.
For me, I think like I'm kind of in the same boat where it's like this thing was so action packed. There's a lot of great scenes that happen in this. It's really hard for me to kind of pick a specific like what was my favorite scene, but the overall. I really enjoyed this. I liked the flow of it. I thought it was very action packed. I didn't think it was only an hour and a half. It felt longer to me than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I love the scenes at the Max Z where you have all the Demogorgons everywhere. Mike's trying to lead them out, and he's like saying, "Stop, go, stop, go." And you've got like Demogorgons flying up above. You got the plates flying off. And what's insane is at the end, the kids get kidnapped anyway. Right? No matter what they've tried to do, because already they tried to kidnap the kids, right? Like there's a lot of kidnapping going on here, right? But for the good and bad reasons, right? And at the very end, the Demogorgons get them, and you got Lucas in the tunnels, and there's that one kid trying his best to hold on, and he's begging, no, because like honestly, they're off to hell, right? They're gonna have like some mucus thing shoved down their throats, and that's not sounds like fun, but he got them all. And when he tells Will, I chose kids as vessels because you guys are weak. You guys are weak and you're easy to control. I'm like, wow, that's, like they went there with the kids and they're 100% right. You know what I mean? So it's like, I thought that was an interesting part of it as well. I love that Steve rammed the beamer right into the gate and they're now in the upside down. I thought it was really cool. They slam into the wall and all that kind of stuff. And back to Linda Hamilton. What I like about that villain, anti-villain, not really sure, is she's like, I guess, replacing Brenner, right? But what I love about this character is she plays this character so well as a somberish character, but she's really badass. And the thing about her, she has like no emotional connections to Eleven versus Brenner did, right? He was called Papa. And so he had his kryptonite, which is emotions. But for her, there ain't no kryptonite. Like to her, she's a lab rat, right? Just like Callie. We find out that Callie's been like hit with a bunch of sonic beams and she's been in there for whatever reason, by the way. And I'd love to know your guys' reasons as to why they have her tied up in the chair, since we know she's like the master of illusions. So there's that as well. And then like another thing with Hopper, right? He goes in there and I'm like, oh, okay, this guy was ready to die every single time he went on a crawl. And this shows it right here. And so like, I'm just going to say it just off the bat. I really feel like he's one of them that's going to bite the bucket. I think also Joyce is going to bite the bucket too. And I think we got a lot more to go. And I think we got a lot more uncomfortability along the way. And I like that too, right? I want to feel uncomfortable with this show because I love this show so much that I think having that type of stakes and feeling that, because we haven't felt it yet. You said it before, like they've done a lot of fake outs to where like they've almost bit the bucket, but they haven't, and we're okay with it, right? But what happens when they do bite the bucket, right? And it's someone that we really like a lot, right? What happens when Hopper bites the bucket? And we know someone's going to do it because in the previews, they look distraught. So something's going to happen. I'm going to go to your guys' take now on your favorite scene. We'll go through your favorite character, and then I want to go for speculation because I've got a lot of speculation. We're going to go with you, Tails. Favorite scene and why?
Vecna. Vecna's my favorite character, and Vecna when he walks out and it just reminded me. I was like, this is Darth Vader mixed with the Terminator, mixed with just every iconic villain. And like when he flicks Joyce away, he's like, go away. She just goes flying. When he pulls the grid, like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't show, they didn't have Vecna in any of these episodes till now. And he's Jamie Campbell Bower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, he's cooking. What, like, one of my top iconic villains of all time, for sure.
All right. What about you, Slider?
Oh man, yeah, I would say this is tough. I mean, the ending's great and everything, but I'm probably going to go with the scene with Hopper and 11, and just the whole interaction between them, and just that whole character development, and it was just a great scene. I just thought it was really, really done well, and yeah, I just really like that scene. So my favorite character in this one, oh man, I'm probably go with Hopper for this one, just because I think he did a great job throughout the whole thing. So yeah, that's my take.
All right, Raven.
For me, I think it's the end with Will using his powers and stuff. I think that would be my favorite scene. And I think if somebody is going to bite the bullet, I think it's going to be Will. And I don't know Tails from that play. I don't even know if I want to know the answer. But do they like kind of kill off people in the play?
Well, it's so this isn't a spoil. I won't spoil it, but
Okay.
it's Henry Creel's backstory.
Oh,
So like
okay.
so there's none of the core four, or but it's
Okay,
like
gotcha.
you know when Max looks at the flyer and it's Joyce is giving out a flyer for the play.
Yes.
That is part happens in the play. So
Okay.
but Henry Creel went to school with Joyce and Hopper and Steve Harrington's dad, which I do find a bit weird that Hopper and Joyce have never said, "Oh, Henry Creel, yeah, I went to school with him." That
Yeah.
never
Right.
comes up.
Oh yeah.
They've kind of retconned that in because they decided to do the play after season 4, and then the Duffer Brothers have said, "Yeah, this is canon because we want to explain." So it is what it is. Plot armor, but yeah.
Maybe it's one of those scenes or those instances where, because there's like kids that you may not have interacted with or cared about, maybe because they were like just alone by themselves most of the school year. So you didn't know your classmates with them until like later on, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, this person was in my class by like looking at, I don't know, the yearbooks or whatever, but you just never gave them that time of day just because they weren't part of your group or whatever. So maybe that's how it was for Henry's dad, right? Yeah, or Henry. People. um but sorry to cut you off. I was
Oh,
just
no, it's all good. No, that was my favorite scene was the end there. I mean, I did really enjoy the whole thing of the kids trying to escape
Mhm.
from the room there and stuff. But yeah, I didn't watch this one as recently, so it's not as fresh in my mind. But I know I truly enjoyed it.
Let's go. And
Yeah.
D, what is your favorite scene and character?
Okay, so I'm gonna share something else first before I
Go
give
ahead.
you my take. Yeah, so in this episode, where essentially Derek is the pawn to like get inside the quarantine area and get to the kids, I just found it like they panel to like the scene where there's everyone, all the other kids are in their bunk beds or doing whatever they're doing, and you see Derek like leading not a cult but like his little meditation group, and he has his ruler, and he
Stick.
just like stick, he hits one of them and it's like, okay, it's your turn. And the teacher just comes by and is like, yeah, nothing strange happening here. And like the kids go one by one, and of course there has to be the one kid who's not part of the chosen group that has to like mess it up for people, right? Oh my gosh,
The
officer,
booger face, right, D?
yeah, I'm like, yeah, the booger face. It just had to be that one girl to go back and like rat everyone out, and then the military officers have to go down and break down the doors. But yeah, when the kids are trying to escape, the 5 do escape, and then you see all the portals just like appearing, this red just appearing out of on the ground, in the walls, all that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, they're all just gonna be taken again. Like they work so hard to come up with this plan to get the kids out, and then the kids, it didn't even work because the kids get taken anyway. So that's like just a bummer, in a sense. You do all that planning, all that work. But yeah, for that take, my favorite part of this episode was where Mike is leading the kids, and then they're in the middle of 'cause after they got apprehended, they're in the middle of the square, right, wherever they are in
The
that area.
Maxi. The
Yeah, in the
Maxi.
middle of the street. And I just love the whole paneling from there's like people flying, getting like just thrown against the walls and whatever. And Mike is leading these kids, and it's like, okay, on my mark, we're gonna go, and it's clear. And you just see him leading them, and then there's like shit going everywhere, and like demogorgons are like after. It was just like so perfect. And they're trying to get to the Radio Shack that could essentially get them out because there's the secret tunnel in there, right? But then just before they get there, it's like, oh shoot, we are so screwed, because then there's like even more demogorgons. Like Vecna comes out. And what another part that was really cool, but not for the officers, was he grabbed the pings for the grenades, and then he just tosses them, and then boom, like they blow up. Like, holy shit, like that sucks, man. But yeah, just the whole scene in there, just so much action all around the kids while they're just trying to escape, was just brilliantly done. It was phenomenal. Whoever, yeah, all that action scenes was top notch in my opinion. And then that voice, the way that Vecna talks when he has Will right here, and I wrote down his lines, like what he says. I was just like, shoot, if he was telling me that, like I would be dying inside, because he's like, he means everything he's saying. Like, the kids are so weak-minded, they're easier to control, and Will was his first one. And so it all goes back to Will. And it's so fitting how they showed Will in the first episode of season 5, in the forest, in his castle Byers, in his little tent thing. And to come back to this scene right here, that, Will essentially showed Vecna what was possible and what he could do. So I thought, I was like, man, I would not want to be like mind frucked by him, because that's just like so much. But it's so well done. Just Vecna's voice is just creepy. But yeah, I really enjoyed episode 4. It just, now we gotta wait for episode 5. That's the bummer part.
Well, we don't have to wait long, guys. It's not like we have to wait like 4 years. We all got a couple weeks. You know what I mean?
Still.
Yeah. There's a couple scenes that really resonated with me, and there is one character that I really enjoyed in this this last this mid-season. What I really liked was the escaping of the kids at the actual Max Z. You know what I mean? Like they're under the tunnel. They broke into the barracks, and they're chiseling through the floor, right? And I get like Goonies vibes, right? When Troy was sitting on top of the toilet, and he had the Goonies down below, and they had all those problems, and they're playing with the pipes. So I had that vibes over there as well when they were digging through. But what I loved was Derek. You know what I mean? Whacking everybody. He had his flock, telling everybody to go, right? But I thought he really shined in this episode because he was no longer, I forget what his name was, right? They called him something Derek. And Joyce was like, "You're no longer this. You're now like, confident Derek," or whatever they said his name was, right? Delightful Derek, right? And he's got like the little walkie-talkie in his lunch pail with the little blinking button. So I really he was a standout character for me specifically for this episode, because I really liked how he was like a jerk in like the previous episode where like, we saw him farting in his room and his sister was in there, right? To now he's like trying to save these kids. He gets the stakes now. He understands he doesn't want to get kidnapped himself. He walks into the Max Z. They're treating him like crap. And by the way, for a bunch of freaking military guys trying to like save these kids, they're really being assholes about it to the kids, right? So there's that too. Another thing I really liked was when the Demogorgons came out and they start chasing after the kids. You got Lucas running with the 2 kids in the tunnels. You got Murray and Robin in that big truck. And Murray saying the Murray things, right? Like because what is that, the blowtorch guy hits one of the Demogorgons, and then it affects Will, and all the Demogorgons get affected as well, right? That kind of gives you an idea, right, of like, okay, somehow Will's connected to them, like as like a collective. But like at the very end scene, you got Murray trying to get off the Demogorgons off the truck. They flip over, and it's pretty much like all for naught. They're ready to get decimated by the Demogorgons. They steal the kids. That point where the kids get taken, right? Where Robin runs to the back of the truck, you see the little tiny portal close. The kids are gone. Down inside of the little tunnels where Lucas, like he gets like gashed in his chest right there, gets pushed aside and kidnaps the other two kids. He sees the one kid. He's trying to crawl to that one kid and he can't reach him. And the kid's asking for help. Like that right there. Like put yourself in that kid's shoes. Like you already know where he's going. He's going to a really bad place, and this kid Lucas knows this, and he can't do nothing about it, right? And that whole ordeal right there. And so I love that part of this finale. And then like you guys, that final scene where it's just all action with Mike leading the kids to Radio Shack, and you see all the soldiers flying, Demogorgons popping out. What I like was like the big general guy, I can't remember his name. It's like the token black guy, right? Like he's in there, and then he gets burned at the end, right? And so like, and what happens to him? He's gonna come back with a vengeance, all burned. So there's that too. But I just thought it was really well done. There's so much good things about this episode that I'll be here like Tails. I'll be here for 10 minutes talking about every little thing that I like, from the discovery of Callie. I can't wait to see what's going on with her. What is going on with Callie? We see Max. She traveled back in time, and there's the play that she picks up, right? There's that too. Or what about Max? She almost escaped, but then the tape stopped playing. All these things, so much things going on in this episode. There's just so much to unpack. But let's unpack some speculation, you guys. So what I normally do here, and Tails, this is probably the first for you, is I usually go to the AI and I have it scour Reddit and all these little places where people are speculating, from the screen rants to all that, and I have it compile it. And so I have 7 key speculations that the AI thinks is probable. Hopefully we don't run into any hallucinations along the way, but let me give you the 7 takes, and then you guys tell me what your guys' speculation is after that. Please take your time. I really would like to hear what you guys' thoughts are on where we're going with this. I believe we have 4 more episodes left. So, and that's it. So 7 key speculations for the rest of Stranger Things season 5. Speculation number 1. Will sacrifices to close the gate. Will, now fully empowered, uses his hive mind connection to Vecna to overload and seal the Upside Down's gates from within, but it requires his permanent death, echoing his season 1 vanishing as a full circle tragedy that saves Hawkins but shatters the Byers family. That's the first speculation that AI thinks is going to happen. Speculation number 2. Time travel resets the ending. Drawing from a Wrinkle in Time nod, the group rewinds to 1983 via Vecna's clock, preventing the lab experiment and Upside Down breach, erasing their bonds and revivals like Eddie, Max, and everyone else that might have, got hurt, leaving a bittersweet right side up world where no one remembers the fight. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but, apparently that's the rumor mill as well. Speculation number 3, Steve's heroic Demogorgon sacrifice. Steve finally meets his long teased end by luring a Demogorgon away from the kids during the Volume 1 battles. I don't know why it put that there. Dying to protect Dustin and completing his redemption arc while clearing the path for Jonathan and Nancy to finally have their end game together. Now, I really think Steve is going to bite the bucket because we all like Steve. And they want to probably have that emotional weight. I think he is going to sacrifice himself. Don't know how. Speculation number 4. 11 heals rather than destroys Vecna. In a twist on her arc, 11 enters Vecna's mindscape to heal Henry Creel with empathy and love. Because the Henry that we see in the dreamscape is different from the Vecna we see in real life. Dissolving his resentment and collapsing the Upside Down without violence, but at the cost of her powers and forcing her into exile. whatever that means. I guess I could see that happen. Here's a really cool one. Erica delivers the final Vecna blow. The badass kid that no one would think would happen evolves into the unlikely hero, using military intel and a sonic weapon to exploit Vecna's buried fears tied to his Henry Creel past. She kills him in the finale and subverting expectations for an adult-led victory. That could happen. Last two speculations, and then we'll get to you guys after that. Vecna is Eleven's biological father. Now, some people on Reddit think Brenner secretly used Henry Creel's DNA to engineer 11, turning the finale into a twisted family confrontation where Elle must kill her dad to end the cycle. Retroactively, basically seeing her visions and powers as inherited curse instead. Well, I don't know what you guys think about that. And then lastly, here's a very, very off-the-wall kind of crazy one that the AI thinks might happen. The entire series was Will's dying hallucination. Hear me out. In the finale, Will is mortally wounded in the massive 1987 battle to come. As he lies dying in Hawkins, the screen begins to glitch. We flash back to November 6, 1983, but this time we see the real mundane truth. Will was hit by a drunk driver while riding his bike home from the Wheeler basement the same night he vanished. He's thrown into the ditch beside Maple Street, bleeding out, alone in the dark. No Demogorgon, no abduction, no upside down. In his final 30 seconds of consciousness, his terrified 12-year-old brain invents the entire heroic saga between seasons 1 and 5 that we've watched. 11 as his savior, his friends searching for him, monsters instead of a senseless accident, so he doesn't die feeling powerless and forgotten. Joyce finds the real wreck minutes too late, cradling her son, dying on the side of the road as the Christmas lights in the buyer's house, visibly seen in the distance, stay dark and ordinary as they fade to black. The upside down, the gates, the powers, all of it was just a little boy's dying wish that someone would come looking for him before he dies.
That's wow.
That is,
Please no.
No, that's
that is
lost.
the
Lost
worst
vibes.
take I've ever.
The worst.
No.
It's an AI. It hallucinates, right?
Yeah. I'll debunk that now because I've already seen the Duffer Brothers, because there was a similar take where apparently it was all Mike's dream and it was his way of dealing with the grief of the loss of his friend of Will, and the Duffer Brothers come out and gone, it's not a dream, this stuff really happened. I love your ideas, guys, but trust me, like, this is real.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah, like I said,
Are they just saying that?
Well, no, I mean, these are all, so for this is complete speculation. It's not like I told the AI to go look for resources, cite me the sources, because AI likes to hallucinate. This one is really the AI went through all the Reddit forums, all the screen rants, and tried to compile what was the most consistent type of speculation.
I've heard some of them takes, so yeah, it's, that, trust me, since this show's come out, the algorithms on Twitter are just showing me stranger things. Like all these people I don't know, I'm just seeing all these different takes, and I'm a massive fan, but some of the fans out there are crazy, bro.
I want your take, Tails, and please, if
Right.
it's 10 minutes, we want to hear it. Go.
I appreciate it. So, in the last season where Eddie, Eddie, Steve Harrington, they go to Nancy's house and they find a diary, and she's like, wait a minute. So the upside down was invented, this is my take, is invented on that day. And that is the day that when Elle was in the void, she touched the Demogorgon. When Vecna, when they show in season 4 and Elle sends Henry into the upside down dimension X, if you look at that shot and he's going back and he's getting done by the lightning, you will see there is clearly he's in the middle of two things. That is in the middle of dimension X and the right side up. Now, I believe that the big bad is the Mind Flayer, where the kids are currently, where he's taken all them kids. And you see that like quick flashback of Will, and sorry, just to go back as well, when Will draws that picture and Robin says, do you want to come and see what your son's drawing? it clearly looks like the Mind Flayer and also the wormhole that what's his name, Mr. Clark, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, all the kids are inside the Mind Flayer, and they are needed as the vessels and batteries for him to finally be able to take over and go and take over all these different worlds. And Vecna is just a pawn, and I believe that Vecna's, let's be real, he's going to die, but I think they will be able to tap into. I don't think they're going to humanize him completely, because what he's done is really irredeemable, but there will be that bit of seeing Henry as a boy, and that's going to be really important. On the deaths, it's a weird one, bro, because I don't mind if, like, normally I'm like, oh, somebody's got to die, for the stakes to be real. I don't mind if nobody dies, to be honest. That's not what I think. I think that the will takes good about he might sacrifice himself, or 11. If they kill Hopper, bro, like, why? I don't think Hopper will die, because they fake killed him at the end of season 3. They almost fake killed him in season 2. They did the thing 2 episodes ago. I just feel like it'd be a bit cheap to go, okay, now he's finally dead. I do agree that I think that take on Steve Harrington's really good, that he'll sacrifice himself and allow, but then at the same time, does that diminish Eddie's death if he dies as well? Like, I don't know, but I just cannot wait. For me, it's the 26th, because you guys are ahead in time, I believe, but I get it on Boxing Day at 1 a.m. for those next 3 episodes. And let me just see if there's anything else I wrote here. I actually did some notes. But no, that's it. The Mind Flayer is going to be the big bad, in my opinion.
And so one question, because for you, who's the Mind Flayer?
I don't think the Mind Flayer has really been seen in season 3. That it looked like the Mind Flayer was his, like, avatar,
the little booger monster thing.
Yeah, that was like his avatar. He's been trying to break down. So when Elle takes the chip out of Henry Creel / Vecna / 1 in season 3, you literally see him go from Henry Creel to the Mind Flayer. I think when Vecna's talking, it's the Mind Flayer talking. I don't think it's Henry Creel or Vecna. And you know how Will can't remember, and I'm sure that this will happen in a few episodes time, but he can't remember being in the Upside Down and having that thing put down his throat, and etc., even though he's seen the other kids do it. Going back to what I said about Henry Creel / Vecna / 1 not wanting to go into the cave, he doesn't know why he doesn't want to go into the cave, but it's something that happened to him when the Mind Flayer first attacked him, but his trauma has pushed it back. And so there's going to be a load of stuff like that to come out in the next few episodes, I believe.
We got like a flashback episode. Yeah, no, it does, because like I'm loving your take, and I'm pretty much on the same boat as you in terms of, because I really think that Vecna Creel, I think there is that light and dark thing, like Dee kind of mentioned, right? There's like a light and dark with the Hill as well. So I think for him as well, there's that as well. But I never really thought of the Mind Flayer being the big villain, as in we really don't know who that really is or how that came to be, right?
Yeah. It's an entity at the moment. It's going to...
Yeah.
Actually, I do have one more take. At the end of season 4, when Will shows them the drawing, and he's got the shield and Mike's there, and it's a 3-headed dragon, like they call it the Vessel Hydra.
Yeah, the Vessel Hydra.
Once Vecna completes and puts them all 12, like the clock. That's why you have all the clock symbolism. I would love to see instead of the smoke monster become a 3-headed dragon, and that is the Mind Flayer. That would be some Marvel Endgame nutty stuff. So we shall see. I know the Duffer Brothers have said that would be really cool, but I don't know whether they'll do it or not.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Interesting.
At the very end, you got like a nice little end game type of thing where you got like you got Callie, you've got 11, you've got Will, and who knows, maybe some other people might pop up too. I'm a big fan of Owen, Dr. Owens, Paul Reiser, and
He's got to come back, bro. I'm
he's
upset
got
I
to come
haven't
back.
seen him. Yeah.
Yeah, and
We
I
don't know what
like him.
happened to him.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
because
do.
like for me, I really thought he was gonna be the next villain, and I like that they made him kind of like the anti-hero / hero. So yeah, I want to
Yeah,
see him come
yeah.
back.
Well,
And
where
also,
was
I
he? In
don't
the
think
cafe? Was that the last part we saw him?
yeah, where
No,
he's
he was in the underground missile base, right?
yeah, handcuffed, and when
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I also don't think Linda Hamilton will be as much of an antagonist. I don't think she's as bad as people are making out.
Hmm. Okay.
Interesting.
All right. Well, let's go to Slider's take. You've heard the speculations from the bot. What's your speculation? How's the series going to end, my friend?
Yeah, that's a lot. I agree with the mind flare thing. I think he's like the main villain that's behind that. I think that's how Vecna or Henry got his powers, when he went into that dimension, originally, and then came back. So I could see that where the AI is talking about how like Henry's kind of like Elle's father. I don't think that, but I think like it was either somewhere I heard or it was like linked to the play or something like that. Elle's father, Papa or whatever, or like he used the blood from one of them, and that's how they all kind of got their powers because Henry like had it and something like that. So I'm not sure, but that would kind of fit in. Um, let's see. I think like the next episode, and I think like the worlds are gonna kind of like collide, and the upside down is gonna like bust into the real world, and I think like somehow they're gonna try to like you know tell people or what. I think maybe Max is gonna find her way out, and get back into her body and like try to warn everybody that this is what's gonna happen, like that this is Vecna's plan. Yeah, I don't know. I think like the end, I think there's going to be some kind of like sacrifice, like you guys said. I don't know if it's going to be Elle or it's going to be Will, but I kind of feel like, yeah, I kind of feel like maybe Vecna is using Will as like a Trojan horse, because like he kind of let Will go at the end. I mean, like he explained stuff to him, right? But I mean, he could have killed him. He left. And then like he has to know that Will can sense him, and like can control the Demogorgons, or at least he must know because like basically it kind of is like he can sense stuff, and he basically used Will to find out information in the first season, when he came back. So I think there might be something there where Vecna's like let him go, and he's gonna try to use him as like a Trojan horse later on. And then I don't know, maybe like Will fights back and sacrifices himself somehow and kills Vecna. But yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I had wrote down a couple things. Yeah, I think okay, deaths. I really think like Hopper's gonna die or Elle's gonna die. Like one of those two. I think one of them's gonna die. And then out of the other group, I think it's gonna be Dustin. I think he's gonna die. Because I mean maybe Steve, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be Dustin. And then yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about it, so I'm looking forward to it. But that's kind of all the things I had like thought about. So yeah, that's it.
Interesting.
Okay, interesting takes. Thanks,
Yeah.
Slider.
Go ahead, Raven.
I am so bad at the speculation stuff, guys.
It's okay.
That it's so hard. Like I think a lot's going to be happening, and it's going to come together. Like almost like there'll be little side quests with the other characters. But I think in the end, it'll be your main originals of Will. Like I'm kind of thinking Henry's going to be Henry, but I'm not sure. 11, and then the girl that was in the chair or in that behind the door. I
Mm.
feel like
Yeah.
they're going to be the ones that have the most power that can really do anything at all. And I think like Will is going to somehow have to use some of his powers almost as a distraction so the others can do something. But I do think Will's death would affect every single person versus, like Hopper would only maybe affect a couple or so and so. I just feel like Will, they were the one that they were been searching for since the beginning and trying to help from the beginning. Like I think his death would be the most emotional. One of my kids actually said something that they thought the ending scene would be, because it started with them playing D&D, that somehow it would end with that. And like I don't know if it's like you said, like I hope it's not just all a dream, blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know how it would get to that final scene and who's left, because I don't think everybody can be there. But beyond that, I have no idea. So
Oh, it's good. It's good. And it's just good to kind of think it out and stuff like that. And I'm sure after we talk about it, maybe you guys will think of other things as well. But D, what's your speculation on the final season? What do you think is going to happen? And do you think anyone's going to die?
Final speculation. Okay, so I had a question, and maybe I missed it, or you guys mentioned it, and I didn't hear. So the scene where Max is in the hospital, and her song is playing, and then it gets disrupted. Was there something
Yes.
happening at that exact time, but with the other characters to make that happen?
No. So I'm sorry, because I've seen so many. It's funny, but like, it's on a cassette tape, which is just 45 minutes, so it's just coincidence. But I could see like the younger generation that might have not have known about cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Been like, oh, that was definitely stopped by some magnetic field at the right. That wasn't don't you know how cassettes work?
The CD skips, like, no, not CD.
Mold on the tape.
Oh man, I felt like such a boomer, but that's just how cassettes work.
No, because I knew it's. I mean, what a cassette is, but they how
I know
there's
you
like
did,
some.
so that wasn't aimed at you, by the way.
No. I was just
seen
like,
other
did
things.
someone because that thought went in my mind, and I even like tried to Google it, and it didn't give me any answers. But I was just like, because there's a lot of coincidences that tie in at the same time as other events are happening with the other characters. So okay, yeah. Anyways, thank you, Tails.
No worries.
I think that Max, something to do with Max, she's gonna find a way out, and she's gonna come and help Will, Callie, and 11. They're all gonna work together with their powers or their abilities to help take down Vecna somehow, or like trap him somewhere where he can't even come anymore. Because Callie, that's her name, right? The sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kali,
So she
or
was like
number 8.
number 8, yeah. So she was like the illusionist, right? That was like her thing that she did. So I think she'll have like a part to play to like amplify that specific power against Vecna, while also Will is able to control the Demogorgons, and then 11's power to like destroy. I think they're all gonna come together as the top 3, and then work together to like get rid of Vecna or defeat him somehow. Yeah, that's my take, my speculation. I don't know if that even makes sense, but for like the people that may die, or something happen to them, if they do have anyone at all, I want to say either Joyce, Mike, or Steve and Jonathan, only because in these latest 4 episodes, those characters have shown that even though they're like they could be like overprotective, or just in Steve's case, like he fights a lot with Dustin, but he means well. And even like Jonathan, like he he wants to be there to help as well, but sometimes he gets too much in his head. And then Joyce, being the overly protective mom, like she'll do, whatever it takes. So I think those 4 characters, if someone had to die, it would be one of those 4, because they're willing to like sacrifice to protect the people that they love in their own way, kind of thing. I mean, that's a lot of people, but who
Mhm.
knows? Yeah, if it came to be like it was just them at a table, playing how they did in the very first episode of season 1, I don't know what to say about that. Please don't make it like that, because then it's like, really another lost thing. Like, this is all it was. Like, you can't put all the characters that we've grown to love in all these situations and then end it with that. So yeah, I agree with Tails. I don't think they're gonna do that to us. So hopefully,
The brothers have literally confirmed. They were like, "Don't worry, we're not going to do what Game of Thrones done. We've landed the
good.
plane. It's not a dream.
Yeah.
It's not a D&D game, and so we'll be good on that. I'm very confident."
Yeah, and the build up, these character build ups will not be wasted in the finale either. So
Yeah.
so I go back to Max and
Mhm.
Holly in the cave. Max literally says, "I need you to go back to the house. I have a plan." At first we learned about Max, and there are like three options, and she ended up like selling for option 2. Accept your fate, right? Until she saw Holly, and then she tried to lure Holly out, and so now Holly is out, and she has a plan. So I really think Max plays a pivotal role, not in the real world, but in this dreamscape, to not only affect Henry in a good way, but also to try to help Holly, right? Because Holly is with Vecna right now in I'm assuming Hawkins' power and light in the Upside Down, right? Tails brings up like that entire picture with the kids, looks like the mind flare. I truly believe Will is not done with Vecna, because in the trailers he did say, "You're going to help me one last time." We have not heard that line yet. The line
No.
has to be said. And I really feel he's number 13 to connect the circuit to whatever they're doing to really start invading our world, right? He's the missing piece. But here's the thing, right? We all look at this like, how do we defeat these Demogorgons and the Mind Flayer? You only got Callie, you only got 11, and now you got Will. I don't think 3 of them is enough for a whole army. And we don't know how conflicted Will is yet, but I think in the end, those 12 kids are going to play a big purpose in terms of they're all going to be changed, because they're all getting fed with all that goop that Will got fed as well, right? And so we all seen the transformation with Will. That same transformation is happening to these kids. And so at the very last moment, something will probably happen to where these kids come out of it. They're all changed, and now they're fighting alongside 11, Callie, and Will against Vecna and the army of Demogorgons, right? I feel like that's where we're heading with this, because I think that would be a really cool thing for them to do, and all because of what's going on with Will right now, right? Like, Will got his powers. We saw at the beginning of this season, like, he got freaking pumped with all that crap. The same thing that we saw with Holly. She's getting pumped with it right now. We saw visions of these other kids there as well. They're currently going through that state. And so something's happening to them. I think they're going to play a big pivotal role at the very end, where we're going to have that end game feel. It's going to be the kids along with our kids and the old kids and the new kids as well against these beings. And I also think you're right, Tails, in terms of, I think Linda Hamilton is there to help as well, because I go back to what Dr. Owen said in season 4. He literally was sitting with her at the diner and said, "Yo, kid, I need you to come with me, and here's why. There's something going on in Hawkins. Your friends are in danger. They're about to be invaded. There's all this evil, and you're the only one that can stop it." They know what's going on. They know what's going to happen, or at least they have a good idea. Why would they build a base in the Upside Down with a bunch of helicopters if they weren't trying to? They know what's going on with the wall, right? The guy pissed on it, right? So I
He knows
think they
nothing.
know what's going on, and I think they're not telling us everything, and I think we're going to find out soon in terms of what the military is doing there, because we never know what's happening with the military. They're either good or bad. But at the end of the day, they don't want like some upside down in the real world. So I think in the end, we're going to see Dr. Owens. No, you're good. You're good. Because I want your take on this. We're going to see Dr. Owens. I think Linda Hamilton will come out on top as a hero. And who knows? We might even have some other crazy cameos that pops up in the end. But that's what I think is going to happen. I think that these 12 kids will now become like mutants, like X-Men, and they're going to have powers as well. And I think it's going to be us against them, light against dark at the very final scene. I think Steve Harrington is going to die. The only reason why is, he's a beloved character. He was supposed to die seasons ago. Every single time you see Steve, it looks like he's about to die. He doesn't die, right? I thought he was going to kick the bucket when like he got sucked into the lake, right? And all those freaking bat Demogorgon was eating him up. I thought he was dead back then. I thought he was going to get infected by the Upside Down. I thought he was going to die in season 2, right? Or the brother.
He's got immunity.
Yes, he's had way too much lives, and I think his time is up. I think the emotional weight will also carry because people really like that character a lot. I do, and I didn't like him in season 1, right? I also think like the way that you try to like, it's gonna hurt if someone from the party dies, right? But as much as I like Will and Lucas and Dustin, I think if Mike were to kick the bucket, that would really, really hurt the entire group because he's really like the one home base everybody goes to. Where are they at? There's all at the Wheeler's house. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're always making plans in the basement. It's always Mike that's making the plans. He's pulling out all these little game pieces from D&D. He's always figuring stuff out. He's always one that's not like negative about the situation. He's trying to get out of it, right? But to lose him, I think would carry emotional weight. And I think even though it would be a cop out, I think having Hopper die and also Joyce would be something too as well. So those are my picks right there: Hopper, Joyce, Mike, and Steve.
Yeah. So sorry, because I've just before I forget, and I'm gonna have to head off soon as well because it's like 2:45.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Going back to your take on Max. So one of the episodes coming up is called Escape from Camazotz. In the trailer, in the teaser trailer, we've seen Lucas holding Max, his limp dead body. I think Vecna's definitely going to figure out her Max's plan. That's why he sends the Demogorgons to the hospital to finish her off, whether she gets away or not. And with Will's powers, it's a bit. How do I put this? Because 1 minute, one of the Demogorgons gets hurt and he's on the floor hurting too because of the hive mind. The next minute, he's killing the Demogorgons and not getting hurt himself. There's another bit in the trailer. I've seen 2 bits, and I don't know whether it's Vecna's hand or whether he's back in the place where everybody else is, because you see the spikes. But he says, you hear him scream, "Run." So I think that it's going to get to a point where he gets so powerful that it's almost like Anakin Skywalker kind of thing, where evil's overtaking him. He knows that he's telling everybody to run away from him.
Dangerous instead.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
I did have a quick question. In the Upside Down, they've got that base, right, where Linda Hamilton is. Is that literally Hawkins' lab?
No.
Yeah, that's on Maple Street, right? They said that was like on Maple Street.
It's not the Max Z Upside Down either, is it? It's something they've just made, right? Okay, cool.
Just for that Upside Down,
Yeah, and just two little Easter eggs that I forgot. One of them's kind of obvious, but Vecna, his prosthetics are done by the same people that did the Night King in Game of Thrones, and he obviously lifts up the Demogorgons just like the Night King does. And the guy that plays Akers, that Hopper beats the shit out of, plays Brenner in the play. There we go. There's
interesting. All right. Tails, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really wanted.
Thank you for having me. I've been wanting to nerd out about this.
I want you to come back because, I really enjoy your takes. So, if you're willing to come back for
100%.
The last 4, because I've been wanting to geek out with you this kind of thing. Last time we had this interview, we were just geeking out on technicals right here.
Yeah.
So now we get to geek out on stuff that we love because I'm like you, man. I grew up with 80s horror. I wasn't really big into like say the alien mythos, but like all the like Night on Elm Street and all that stuff I love so much. And then so I love your takes with everything. So I appreciate you coming on, giving us your time.
Thank you for having me, both.
Yeah, thank you,
and
Tails.
it was great. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yes,
No pun
please do.
intended. All right.
All right.
Take it
Go
easy,
get some
guys.
sleep then.
Thank you, brother.
We'll do.
Bye.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right. And with that, guys, this has been shoot.
Oh,
This yes, go ahead.
okay. So something I noticed when you guys were talking about other scenes was in this last episode, they reference, and maybe it's just me. They reference a lot of stuff in threes, right? So the three choices that Max had, right? And then the three choices of Tom, Dick, and Harry. And
Yeah.
then and I don't know if this is tied to it, but I'm just gonna make it tied to it, is when Will gets his powers, or he gets control of the Demogorgons, he takes out three main ones, right? The ones that were after Murray and the kids. The one in the cave, not the cave, the tunnel with Lucas, and then the one that was about to hurt Mike. So I was like, I don't know. That's a lot of threes for me.
I feel like I need to watch
Yeah.
the whole season again. I
Yeah.
don't know if I have time. But I think no
Catch-
matter
catch a
what,
recap.
we're in for a good ride. Like I think
Yeah.
the way they've started off this season has been amazing. So I think it's gonna be fun.
You know what sucks, guys, is this is it. Like, we always complain like, oh man, we gotta wait like 4 more years. There's no more waiting anymore. This is it.
Yeah.
We're waiting just 2 weeks. And like we're gonna get what we want, right? We're gonna get the next 3, and then we're like, oh, we gotta wait 1 more episode. And then when we get that 1 episode, we're gonna be like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
Like the waiting is gone. Like honestly, really think about this. Like what we're watching is the last of the last of what we're gonna see with this show, the family in this show, the characters that we love so much, these actors being together, and this type of format. No one's gonna ever do something like this again, or at least they'll try to duplicate it, and maybe we'll see a Stranger Things like reboot in like 10 years, because you know how they like to like regurgitate stuff, but nothing like this. Like, and once again, just to kind of sum it up, I remember when I first watched this, Dee was at work and my daughter was 2, and I was hooked. I literally could not. And I know the first episode was a little bit drawn out and long, but it kept me captivated. Season 2 is actually my favorite. I really enjoyed that one the most. I enjoyed the storyline with the sister. I love that they took their time to flesh it out. I love, what we got to see there. And a lot of what happened in that season is kind of coming back full circle in this season with Will. I really hope we see Dr. Brenner. I'm not Dr. Brenner. I'm sorry. Dr. Owens. I really like that character. I think Paul Reiser was such a good character in the 80s. If you remember him from Aliens, that like seeing him be this person and not be a mad about you type of character. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, it's going to be interesting what happens, guys. So see your final goodbyes, and then I guess we'll get out of here. Slider.
Yeah, one little bit of speculation. Get your Stranger Things collectibles and comics now, because I think this is going to be epic, and I think people are going to remember this for a very long time, like you said. I think this is going to be like this generation's, Game of Thrones, or even Lost, like where everybody just watched it, and the ending wasn't good. Lost, but it was still a great series. But yeah, I just think like, that's one thing that just popped into my head when you were saying that, because it's just like, yeah, I think that's gonna happen. But yeah, great last 2 episodes. Can't wait for 2 weeks to come, Christmas. And yeah, guys, it was fun, and it was awesome having Tails here. He had some great takes, and yeah, it was awesome, and everybody else too. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and sorry guys, we had a couple people that weren't able to make it. We had some cancellations. I really wanted to get Tails and Video Shane together, because Shane has got some really good takes too. So, but people got life and they got a life. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in. We appreciate everyone for tuning in every single time. I'm not gonna forget about you, Raven. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But Raven, final takes.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to. I think this will be a nice Christmas present for all of us to get to watch the finale of this. And yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping there might be a little spin-off. I think there's
Yeah.
room for it, especially with the younger characters, but you never know.
So they are going to do prequels to this as a cartoon where
Oh,
there's going to
really?
be,
Oh,
yeah. So we're going to get to see in between seasons in the cartoon.
huh.
So
Okay.
That's
they're not going away, but like the entire storyline is going to end, right? And so what
Mhm.
do? You go back to the past so you can just like squeeze a little bit more out of this cow.
I just like again with Lost, I felt like there was so many places where things could have been tied in together and it never was. And I think that's what I felt like I was waiting for. It never happened, and that's why I wasn't happy with the ending of it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be different. I feel like everything is set up, everything means something, and it will tie in together, which I'm very excited for.
And the Duffers have guaranteed that versus like, and I can understand with Lost, that was something that J.J. Abrams started. It worked out great. Damon Lindelof took over, and they were like inventing mythos as they went. And the issue with Lost is, they put so much mythology out there. It really wasn't the focus of Lost. It was really the characters. But because they did so much whipped cream on the top, everybody wanted to see the cherry, and they never got it. And that was the problem with Lost. So, but D, final takes, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, to touch on that thing of Lost, like there's a lot of stuff that they tied in, but just to get to it, because there were so many characters on that show, I think that also took a long time to just tie certain things in to make us be like, oh yeah, okay, so they're related this way, or
Yeah.
they met up, they crossed paths during this time. It's like how we went backwards, forwards, sideways kind of thing. I enjoyed Lost, but for a lot of things, it took them too long to tie it all in to make it all make sense. I'm
You
really
got to remember now,
excited.
they had 22 episode seasons back then, right? They don't do that
Yeah.
anymore.
Right. What I was gonna say, yeah, this has been really fun to just watch the shows, and I think what we enjoy as well, being like in the same general age group, is we can all relate to a lot of the things that happen in this show. Bringing back, biking everywhere to your friend's house, going to the diners, playing at the arcade kind of stuff. So I think that has also been really nostalgic for me, is to talk with you guys about a show that shows things that we used to do as kids, and now like kids in this current age is like kind of reliving through us kind of thing. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. I can't wait for Christmas, where we're gonna unwrap the next episode, and then kick off the new year with the last episode. So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I'm excited, but not like I don't want it to end. But I know they're gonna do a great job.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't want this to end, and I 1,000% agree with D in terms of the nostalgia. Like, I didn't know I missed the '80s until I got to watch the '80s on TV again and realize, because I'm going to be honest, I'm going to date my age here. This entire storyline happens around my childhood, guys. Like literally, this is my childhood I'm watching. And like, from the bikes to like the corded phones to the lights to the Ataris and all that stuff, and
Like
the
right.
music and the scores and the cars, like everything. Like I resonate with all of it, right? Like going to people's houses and staying there till forever, playing games and stuff like that. I used to ride my bike home late at night, like Will, you know what I mean? And you just had to call your parents once to let them know where you were, right? So like this stuff really resonated with me. That's why for the first episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, from the soundtrack. And can we talk about the soundtrack? Like, if you're not turning up your TV while you're watching this stuff, I don't know what's going on, because like it adds to the emotional depth and the dramatization of the scene itself by not only watching really good acting, really good actors, really good writing, really good scenes, really good settings and execution, but when that Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein just vibe goes through the entire show and scenes and everything in between. It just screams just nostalgia respark. It really does. And so like I love it so much. I mean, you guys see it, right? Like I'm on this 80s kick now. Like the entire team is like, you're flooding the entire Suno playlist with 80s nostalgia. I'm
Retro.
like, yes, I'm in this kick now. Like if you guys really see it, and like and it's gone to a point now where I'm talking with Slider. So Slider and I are chatting in the DMs about coming up with different conceptualized shows for like AI, right? Because I got the concept, which is an AI show about coming up with different short stories and trying it out and actually putting from pen to paper to production and seeing what it looks like. You know, like The Writer, right? That was something that came from a comic book, a short story I wrote, and I put it out there, and it's actually taking shape. So that's what we're kind of doing here, right? And I got something similar. I'm like a bunch of kids in the 80s, they get kidnapped by aliens, and then I won't tell you what happens after. You have to come back and watch the concept. But stuff like that, like 80s is resonating. My daughter, like guys, my daughter bought a Dustin hat like 2 weeks ago. It says Hawkins basketball. She wears that thing to school, like she's so proud of it. And everyone's like, what's Hawkins, right? Because some people don't know Stranger Things, right? We've had parties for my daughter for Stranger Things. We had a Demogorgon cake. I'm telling you the truth. And so, like, this is pop culture at its finest. And Slider, you're 100% right. Go look for the comic book. It's already gone up in price. So, just like anything else that James Gunn is doing, you know what I mean? Like Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that's already up in price. So, yeah, find the collectibles and comics out there. There's NFTs on Candy. Just saying. Anyway, but guys, this has been the Severed Floor. Thank you so much for joining us. We are out for now. I don't know if we're going to do another show in between with something different. I'll talk with the team later about that. But stay tuned. We will be back for episodes 5, 6, and 7, as well as the finale, which is on New Year's Eve. So that will be done in 2026. It'll be the first episode of 2026. Guys, this has been the Severed Floor. Thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you back on Tuesday, where we have virtual radio as well as the fan club segment in virtual radio about 45 minutes to 30 minutes after, where we're going to have Ronnie Lido on the program.
Change plans.
Change of plans. We're not going to have Ronnie Lido, but we're still going to have the duck race. Do you guys want to come back for the duck race? Because you guys have a chance to win a slab from FANABLE. Thank you so much for our sponsor. And then also, guys, we have Neon Ichiban on the program for Future Watch on Tuesday. So tune out for Tuesday. Tune in for Tuesday, not tune out. And then on Friday, we have a special on Aloha Friday, which we're doing the fan club segment on that as well, Aloha Friday style. And we're going to have the biggest whale that is currently on FANABLE, Zoso, who's going to be on the program. And you're going to watch me try to convince him to sell me his Savage Dragon #1. So he has it in his collection. But we're also going to get to talk with this guy. I can't wait for that, guys. So tune in next week. We have some action-packed shows. And that's it. D, anything else before we get out of here?
No, you pretty much said it. Just tune in and catch us on the next show that you're able to catch or on the replay. And just appreciate everyone for tuning in tonight. This has been really fun. So stay tuned for 2.5 weeks from now, where we'll be back for the Christmas special. That's going to be fun.
Christmas special, guys. More on that a little bit later, but take care until the next one. Aloha.
Bye.